Are you feeling the calling to start or grow a business that is so aligned with you and everything that makes up who you are? Do you know that there has to be a way to do this without so much hustle and without chasing the latest shiny objects, but you're just not sure how? You can definitely have a dream business that improves, not consumes your life, that allows you to work with soulmate clients while helping you and your family financially and in all ways. You can elevate yourself to be the entrepreneur who has all of her desires. I'm going to show you how on the Elevated Femmes movement. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Elevated Femmes movement. Today, we're going to be talking about money, and I have just the right expert to guide us in this conversation. I have Jessica Tomac with me. She is a financial advisor with Edward Jones. Jessica, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here and to have this conversation that I feel like a lot of women need some more guidance on this topic.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. We're super excited to be able to be here. And you're right, women are taking over the wealth transfer. And the reason I got into the business is I was asking questions and I wanted to learn more and wasn't feeling like I was getting that help or that partner. So I fired 5 financial advisors before I finally just said, I'm going to become one and I'm going to help women. And that was been my mission and my call to action from day one, looking at, hey, women need this advice, right? And how can they get it? And how can they be empowered with their finances? So we are super excited to be able to be here and share some insights today.
That's great. Wow. So you fired 5 financial advisors? Wow. So you did some research. You definitely knew that you wanted to find the right fit. And when you didn't find the right fit, you became that right fit for yourself. I love that. What led you, what were you doing before becoming a financial advisor? What led you down this path?
So before becoming a financial advisor, I did strategic planning and mergers and acquisitions. Always in high school and college, I thought I wanted to be an accountant. And then I got to college and I was like, accountants don't like people and they're not very social. And I like to talk a lot. So nobody said, hey, a perfect mix between accounting and talking to people would be financial advising. I didn't know, and I didn't have experience with anything in that realm. So strategic planning, mergers and acquisitions it's kind of was my passion. And I chuckle now because I said I was the bad cop. I came into businesses, I bought them up, we consolidated, we made stuff really efficient, and people lost their jobs, right? And in many cases. So I was the one they didn't really want to see. And now I'm the person that's helping people preserve their wealth and changing generations. And it's really fun to be on this side of the coin here.
Now people are excited to see you. They're happy to see you and talk with you.
That's right. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about I guess, a lot of times when I bring women on, I bring a lot of female entrepreneurs on the show and we talk about how we run our businesses because, and I believe you're a parent too. But it's not easy to run a business and to have a big vision for our businesses, to, look to reach the next level and beyond while we're also running house and, have young children that we have to take care of. So before we get into the money conversation, just tell us a little bit about how you kind of make it all work in your life.
Yeah, so it is always a challenge. I think any working mom would be kidding herself if it wasn't a challenge. If you have a magic ticket, please let me know. My kids, I have 2 kids and they're 16 and 18 now. So I have a graduate and I used to think back when they were babies, like that was so busy. They get busier the older they get. However, it's just different, right? Your time with them it's different, but it's still time consuming. And so really, I would say the biggest piece is understanding you don't have to do everything. I think so many women think that, we have to do that. It's our job. We have to clean the house and cook the meals and take care of the kids and work a full-time job. Well, you have to realize at some point in your career, you can't do all things well. You have to be willing to be like, hey, I can pay somebody to help do that, or I can outsource this activity. You don't have to be the person that does it all. And I think if I learned anything in growing my business, it's been, I can't be all things to all people. As much as I'd love to help everyone, I have to have a group I can help. And if I can't help them, I'll find them someone who can. But you can't help everybody because you don't have capacity then for your own family.
Exactly. I think that saying no sometimes is the most empowered thing that we can do as moms, as parents. Because yeah, we can't please everybody. We can't, as much as we want to have everything running smoothly at all times. It's not possible. And we can't always be the one, like I feel like we can still have a say in things, but we just can't be the ones actually doing it. And I think that's a great topic. One thing that I want to chime in on here too is that thinking about, for example, like let's say doing the grocery shopping takes a lot of your time, or, cleaning your own house takes a lot of your time. What is something that you'd rather be doing than going and buying your own groceries or cleaning your house? I'm pretty sure there's at least like a handful of things that you'd rather do, whether it's spending more time with your kids or maybe taking an additional client on, or I don't know, something else, right? There's so many different things, doing a hobby, but especially when we're running businesses, I feel like the one thing that I always say is like, think about how much your time is worth, right? So let's just even
Yes.
say that your time is worth, I don't know, $200 an hour. I'll just make up a number, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can pay somebody probably $25, maybe $30, I don't know, $40 an hour to buy your groceries for you. That saves you an hour, maybe 2 hours that you could be doing something that you prefer to do. Or pay somebody, I don't know, $100 to clean your house. And that just saved you a couple of hours, again, that you could be doing something either in your business or in your home that you actually want to do. And I think this brings us, is a great segue to start talking about money here, because whether it's something, whether money is something that is abundant in your life right now, or whether it's something that you tend to struggle with, I think that being strategic and saving, having budgeting and all that, this is where that comes in handy. So I'm going to hand this over to you. You're the expert to talk about this topic. So tell us a little bit about an ideal way of setting up a savings strategy for a working mother, for herself, whether she has a business or whether she's, a female professional working in corporate.
Yeah. So I think one of the big things that I see is we're busy, right? And so they think, oh my, this is one more thing you're going to put on my plate. I don't have time for this. And so oftentimes people will not address it because they think it's going to take them so much more time. So really understanding or partnering with someone who can help you with a holistic approach. One of the things that we do to help career focused women is we say, okay, you bring your paycheck gets deposited into here. We pay all your bills out of here. We are tracking and monitoring. So what happens is a lot of career focused women, they're busy, right? They got their kids going in one direction. They've got their business going in another. And before they realize it, they've got X dollars too much in their bank account, sitting in cash, not making anything. They're working so hard and their money isn't doing anything for them. Right. So as we monitor things, we'll call and say, hey, look, you've reached your next goal or that next milestone. Here's what we're doing next. But we're watching it and we're taking care of it so that they can kind of set it and forget it. Wait for those phone calls to come in to say, okay, here's our next spot. Here's our next thing. But they're not having to do it day to day because oftentimes they don't have time. To your point, with hiring things out, there was a time my daughter plays a lot of soccer. We live, breathe, and sleep soccer. And it got to the point that I was so stressed out because I had to get the house cleaned on the weekend because I didn't have other time, but we were traveling for soccer. And so I was trying to put it all in and do it all. And I realized, why am I doing this? I'm such a grouch, right? I can pay somebody to come in and clean the house. And now I don't have to think about it. And now I can enjoy those soccer games and that quality time with my daughter and not have to be like, oh, and now we have to go do this. I would tell folks that they should look at your budget, look at your cash flow, and don't be afraid to overhire, whether that's in your business or if it's in your personal side, because you will fill it and you will do something with it. In fact, before my business was ready for 2 full-time employees, we hired 2 because I knew there's work to do, but you didn't do it because you only had 1.5, right? And so then when you hire the second, you're like, oh yeah, we're so busy. it never slowed down, even though we have more capacity because we have things to do. The same thing is with people's finances, everything. But you have to find somebody that can help partner with you through that. Otherwise, it is more of your time. And then I find that folks don't follow through very well.
Gotcha. So if I'm understanding you correctly, the way that you work with your clients is you actually manage their accounts. Like you take a look at their paychecks coming in, their, whether it's client payments or money from their employer coming in, and then you tell them, oh, look, you have together, I guess you and them created a plan, a potential plan. And okay, if they have X number in the account, then they can do X to X kind of investment or whatever it is. Is that how it works? Am I understanding that?
Yeah. So we'll manage, so we'll have like a business account for them if they run their own business. So we have their business account and we have their personal account, and then we help them kind of navigate, making sure everything's going where it's supposed to go. And really, we call it like the income manager. Like we're helping manage that income and cash flow for them. For other folks that work for corporate America, we don't have to do that because they're not doing the budget. We still might help them on that personal side of it. And for other folks, they're like, maybe they just want to say, how do I reach these goals? And we work on what their goals are and then put together plans to help them reach their college education funding or whatever it is that they're looking to save for.
Fantastic. So let's talk about, I think savings right now it's almost like what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to tuck money aside because there's, scary things in the news every day that we hear about the economy. And I think that instead of thinking that we have to like hide our wallets and stop spending altogether, personally, I don't think that that's how we're going to improve the economy, to be honest. If we all stop spending, how are we going to get money circulating and generating and improving the economy again? So I think now we can maybe talk a little bit about other things that we can do with our money. And you touched on it a little bit, but I think it's also something that a lot of women don't know a lot about. And we kind of rely on our husbands and our spouses to be the ones who manage the investments. Guilty over here, right? So, Jessica, I would love for you to talk to us a little bit about investing. And if women, maybe there's some independent women out there, maybe they're not moms, or maybe they're single moms, or maybe they're just women and then they have husbands, but they're the ones who want to handle the investing, or that at least they want to be able to say, hey, you know what? I have an idea. I have something that I want to do with our money. So where can we get started with investing? And any tips that you might have for women who want to be more involved with investing their money?
Yeah, I would say that the very first thing is that whole piece you mentioned, financial freedom, right? And what does that mean? And that financial freedom for women is financial security. It's knowing that they're going to be able to pay their bills, and what does that look like? So for everyone to get started on that, it's really understanding, what do you spend on average for a month of your bills? And once you know what you spend a month, calculate 3 months or up to 6 months of your spending. And that's what you should keep in your bank account doing nothing. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's not making anything. And then for those folks that like to, just keep squirreling it away in their bank account, it's not making much interest, maybe up to 2% best case. But then you can layer in CDs, right? And these CDs are FDIC insured. It's not doom and gloom. You're not going to lose your money. And you can do up to a year's worth of your spending in layered CDs. So that's kind of that next great step. Then when you're past that point, now you're ready to start investing in investments. And what I tell folks is, typically do not start with an individual stock. While it's super fun, I think it's fun. Some people find it super scary, but it doesn't have any kind of width to it. So if that one thing does bad, the whole value goes down, right? So start with something like a mutual fund or an ETF, an exchange traded fund, and start with that, because there's, 50 or 100 or 500 businesses in that one thing. And so there's lots of opportunity for things to go higher or lower. but you're not just in one thing. So that's where I tell folks to start investing. And depending if that's in a retirement account or in an individual account, that would depend on what type of investment you'd want to be looking for. People should be thinking about taxes, all fun stuff, right? They should be thinking about how or when they anticipate using it. And really understanding from that investment perspective, you do not want to put anything in the stock market and you think you're going to use it in the next 6 months. That's, it's too volatile.
Right.
And you don't know what it's going to do. So you need to make sure money you're putting in the stock market is going to be there for at least 12 months. And I typically say in today's economy, it's 24 months or longer so that you can make sure you're making a good return on it.
Gotcha. And do you like to, I guess it depends on the individual, but do you think it's smart to have a good mix of more like short-term investments as well as long-term investments? Do you like to tell people to maybe, like, what would you say to somebody right now? Focus on the longer-term investments over those short-term investments? How would you navigate like the next year that we have coming up, with
That's a great question. Oh, for sure. And there's going to be a lot of market volatility between now and next year. And we all know this, right? We also know that tax laws are sunsetting in 2026. And if I asked you, do you think tax rates are going to go up or down? What would you tell me?
I think up.
Up. Oh, absolutely, they're going to go up. Social Security is set to run out of funds in 2026. What will they do to fund it? They will increase taxes. That tax law sunsets at the exact same time as, this Social Security problem. It's going to be magically solved with higher taxes.
Yeah.
So we know the tax rate's going up. So it isn't, I wouldn't say it's not short-term or long-term. It's based on your purpose. So if you're in your 30s and this money is being saved for retirement, that's long-term money. You can have more of it in the stock market. You want to buy stuff in the stock market right now because everything is on sale. And when you're buying it on sale, if I told you could buy a pair of shoes at full price or a pair of shoes at half price, you wouldn't hesitate to tell me you want the half price shoes. But if I tell you the stock market's down 50%, you're like, oh, I want to puke. I'm not putting any money in there, right? It's just a different mindset. That's long-term money. Now, short-term, you might want to buy a house in 2 years. Well, don't put that in the stock market. Put that in layered CDs making 5%, right? You won't lose your money. It's going to be there. It's going to you can auto escalate it, right? You can keep putting new money into it. So it's not either or, it's based on your purpose. I have a kiddo who's headed to college this year. His money is not in the stock market, the money that we need to use for the next year, because I don't know what the stock market's going to do, but the rest of the money is still in the stock market because I know overall it's still going to grow. So you have to really know what the purpose of your funds are for to determine if I'm focusing on short-term or long-term or a mix of both.
Got it. Beautifully explained. Thank you so much. So Jessica, this was very, very informative, and I feel like there's so much more that we can learn from you. So if people would like to do that, where can they go to connect more with you?
Yeah, so they can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and at Edward Jones. If you search Edward Jones and Jessica Tomac, I'll pop up there as well.
Excellent. And we'll have all those links in the show notes for you guys to check out. Thank you again for sharing some of your time with me, Jessica. And thank you to everybody listening. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Elevated Femmes movement. I would love to hear your thoughts on the podcast, so please leave us a review. If you know someone who could benefit from the episodes on the show, please share it with them. We need more women elevating to their highest potential, enjoying all the great things in life, having plenty of time freedom for their children and loved ones, while doing things smarter and not harder, and growing a business that improves, not consumes their life. To connect with me and download my free resources, please go to www.juliamhickman.com.